Have you ever felt like you're meant for something more but can't quite figure out what it is? Many Christians feel they have untapped spiritual potential but struggle to find their place in church. If you've wondered why you feel different or think God has a special purpose for you, this video is for you. We're going to look at some surprising signs that you might have a spiritual gift you didn't know about. These aren't just abstract ideas. They could be showing up in your everyday life. Maybe you're really good at comforting others when they're upset, or you feel drawn to serve in ways you didn't expect. By watching this video, you'll learn how to spot and grow your spiritual gifts. You'll discover your unique role in God's plan and find out how to use your gifts to make a real difference in your church and community. Number 1, the whisper of inner promptings. Have you ever felt a sudden urge to call a friend only to find out they were having a tough time? Or maybe you felt like you should volunteer at a shelter, even though you've never done it before. These aren't just random thoughts. They might be inner promptings, subtle signs of a spiritual gift. Inner promptings are gentle nudges from God, guiding us to act in line with His will. But how can you tell if they're really from God? It's a question many Christians struggle with. The key is looking for consistency and checking if they match up with Scripture. If you feel pushed to do something that goes against what the Bible teaches, that's a warning sign. Here are a few examples of how these promptings might show up. If you have the gift of encouragement, you might feel a strong urge to send a kind message to someone you haven't talked to in a while. If you have the gift of hospitality, you might feel drawn to invite a new neighbor over for dinner. These promptings often line up with the talents you already have. The Bible gives us clues about recognizing God's voice. In 1 Kings 19:11, God speaks in a still, small voice. In John 10:27, Jesus says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." This suggests that as we get closer to God, we become better at hearing His promptings. To spot real promptings, look for patterns. Do they usually lead you to help others and honor God? Do they stick around rather than fading quickly? Do you feel peaceful about them, even if they're challenging? These are good signs that you might be feeling the stirrings of a spiritual gift. It's important to act on these promptings, even if they seem small. Start by taking little steps based on what you feel God is telling you. Keep a journal of what happens. This can help you see patterns and get better at recognizing His voice. Remember, inner promptings are often just the start of discovering your spiritual gifts. They're like a gentle tap on the shoulder saying, "Hey, look at this." As you respond, you'll start to see how they play out in real life. Don't ignore these whispers from God. They might help you find your special role in His plan. Number 2, unexpected effectiveness in service. Picture this. You reluctantly agree to lead a small group at church, feeling totally out of your depth. But as you start, something amazing happens. People are connecting deeply, sharing struggles, and finding real healing. Lives are changing right before your eyes. Is this just luck, or could it be something more? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you unexpectedly excelled? This is often how spiritual gifts show up, through surprising effectiveness in service. It's like discovering a hidden talent you never knew you had. With this new effectiveness often comes self-doubt. You might think, "I'm not qualified, I'm faking it, and soon everyone will see I have no clue what I'm doing." This imposter syndrome can be paralyzing, but remember, true spiritual gifts often pop up where we feel least prepared. Let's look at some real signs of spiritual gifts in action. If you have the gift of teaching, you might notice people easily grasping tough spiritual ideas when you explain them. Those with the gift of hospitality may find strangers quickly becoming friends around them. If you have the gift of healing, you might see amazing recoveries when you pray for the sick. Keep an eye out for patterns of effectiveness in your life. They could point to your unique spiritual gifts. The Bible encourages us to use our gifts to build up the church. In 1 Corinthians 14:12, Paul tells believers to strive to excel in building up the church. Our gifts aren't just for us, but for helping everyone in the church. Consistent, unexplained effectiveness can be a big clue about a spiritual gift. It's about seeing God's power work through you in ways that go beyond your natural abilities. When you keep making a positive impact in a certain area of ministry, even when you feel unprepared, that's worth noticing. This effectiveness often brings a sense of fulfillment. You might feel joy and satisfaction when using your gifted areas, almost like you were made for it. And in a way, you were. This feeling of things clicking into place can be a strong sign of your divine calling. Remember, effectiveness in spiritual gifts isn't about personal success. It's about seeing how God is working through you to help others and grow His kingdom. As you keep serving and growing in your faith, stay open to the ways God might be showing you your unique spiritual gifts through unexpected effectiveness. Number 3, the affirming voice of community. Have you ever gotten a compliment that made you feel good, but also a bit awkward? What if those kind words were actually pointing you towards your purpose in life? The truth is, when other people praise you, it might be more important than you think for figuring out your spiritual gifts. In the early church, Christians relied on their community to help them spot spiritual gifts. This showed how connected everyone was and how each person had something unique to offer. Let's be honest, it's not always easy to accept praise. You might think, they're just being nice, or if they really knew me, they wouldn't say that. This struggle between what others see in us and what we believe about ourselves is pretty common when it comes to discovering our spiritual gifts. So, how do other people spot these gifts? Maybe you're really good at explaining tricky Bible passages in a way that makes sense to everyone. Your friends at church might often tell you how much they learn from you during Bible study. Or perhaps people always say they feel better when you're around during tough times, which could mean you have a gift of mercy. Maybe you're always the first to notice when someone needs help, showing a gift of service. When people keep saying these kinds of things, it's a good sign you might have a spiritual gift. The Bible talks about how important community is for recognizing our gifts. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 12:7, "Now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good." This means our gifts aren't just for us, they're meant to help everyone in the church. In Romans 12:4-5, Paul compares the church to a body where each part has its own job but works with all the other parts. How can you tell if someone's really seeing your spiritual gift or just being nice? Look for patterns. When lots of people, especially those who've been Christians for a while or church leaders, keep noticing the same things about you, that's a good clue. Pay attention to what you hear over and over. Do people always say you give great advice? Do they mention that your prayers seem really powerful? Remember, when your community affirms you, it's not about making you feel special. It's about helping you see how God has prepared you to serve others. By accepting these affirmations, you can start to live out your purpose more fully. Try keeping track of the specific things people say about you. Over time, you might start to see patterns that show you what your spiritual gifts are and how you can use them to help your church family. Number 4, the unmistakable mark of spiritual fruit. Have you ever felt like your actions were making a difference, but you couldn't quite put your finger on why? We've talked about inner promptings, unexpected effectiveness, and community affirmation. But there's one more crucial sign that your spiritual gift is genuine: the unmistakable mark of spiritual fruit. Spiritual fruit is about the lasting impact on people's hearts and lives. When your actions consistently produce qualities like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control in yourself and others, it's a strong sign that you're using a spiritual gift. Let's look at some examples. If you have the gift of teaching, you might see people learning new information and growing in their love for God and others. Those with the gift of encouragement might notice that people around them feel more joy and peace, even when things are tough. If your gift is hospitality, you might see strangers becoming friends and feeling like they belong in the community. Here's something interesting. The impact of your spiritual gift might be deeper than you think. Sometimes, You can't see the fruit right away. It might take time to see how God is working through you. For example, a bit of wisdom you share today might help someone make a big life change years later. When you see spiritual fruit that matches God's character, it's a powerful confirmation of your gift. It's like God saying, "Yes, I'm working through you to build up my kingdom." This fruit isn't just about you growing, it's about fulfilling God's purpose for your life and His church. Remember, spiritual gifts are for serving others, not showing off. The fruit they produce should always point to God, not to our own abilities. When you see lives changing, relationships healing, and faith growing because of your actions, that's a clear sign you're using a spiritual gift. As you think about the fruit of your actions, consider how they fit into God's bigger plan. Are people getting closer to Him? Are broken relationships being fixed? Is faith getting stronger when things are hard? These are powerful signs that your gift isn't just a natural talent, but something God gave you for His purposes. In the end, the fruit of your spiritual gift is about more than just making you feel good. It's about being part of God's work to change the world. As you keep using your gift, pay attention to how it affects others. You might be amazed at how God uses your faithfulness to bring His kingdom to earth. As we wrap up our journey through the signs of spiritual gifts, remember that these gifts are tools God has given you to make a difference in His kingdom. They're not about personal glory, but about serving God and others with purpose. Now it's your turn to take action. Think about the signs we've discussed. Do you see any in your own life? Here are some practical steps to help you discover and develop your spiritual gifts. 1. Reflect. Spend time in prayer asking God to show you your gifts. 2. Take a test. Many churches offer spiritual gifts assessments to help identify your strengths. 3. Try new things. Serve in different areas of your church or community. 4. Ask for input. Talk to trusted friends or church leaders about what gifts they see in you. 5. Read the Bible. Learn more about spiritual gifts mentioned in Scripture. Don't be afraid to ask for help from experienced believers in your church. They can offer valuable insights and guide you on this exciting spiritual journey. Look for chances to serve in your church or community. Try out different ministries. You might be surprised at how God uses you. Your willingness to step out in faith can really impact both you and those around you. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Your spiritual gift is waiting to be discovered and used for God's glory. Take that first step today. It could be volunteering for a new ministry, talking to your pastor about your gifts, or simply praying for guidance. Every action brings you closer to fulfilling your purpose. Get ready for the adventure God has in store for you.